I want to go through and at least hear some, I want to hear some key things that have helped each of you guys.
Particularly y'all two.
Not necessarily, maybe in like Chili's case, not necessarily come out the other side, but how have you endured it, right? So I'll use my major setback as the heart condition and having everything that I wanted to do stripped away from me and being just basically told absolutely no, negative. You can't go any further. I came out the other side of that one, right? So it's easy for me to assess, well, what are some things that I did? Again, I'm not going to tell the whole story, but when I showed back up to my little house there in North Georgia, I was depressed, like really depressed. And believe it or not, there was a lot of shame for me in that. Even though it wasn't my fault, I knew I thought I knew everyone else's perspective, minus my family. I think my family really knew what was going on, but everyone else was like, well, of course Jad's back. We never expected him to make it through anyways. You know what I mean? It's a freaking joke that this guy thinks that he's going to become a part of the most elite fighting force on earth. He's a dumb redneck. So I can also tell you in many of the other setbacks that I've experienced in life, there's always an aspect of shame involved in it. One of the main things that has helped me work through setbacks is relinquishing the shame. In other words, just putting it out there. Hey, to other people, to people around you, to people you're interacting with, when it's appropriate, just straight up. Hey, guys, I know y'all got to be around me today. This is what I'm freaking dealing with. I'm dealing with a big setback here, right? And whether that's your team at work, whether that's your family members, whether that's your friends, whatever it is, just relinquishing all shame that revolves around whatever it is that setback is. And most of the time, the shame is unwarranted anyways, because the setback in a lot of cases was completely out of your control. Now, if it was something that is in your control, shame is never warranted. It exists, but it's never, it's really a very, if not the most useful tool of the enemy of Satan to keep us in a freaking rut. Shame is, right? So I had to get out of that depression, and I had to just say, all right, I'm going to tell everyone that asks openly the truth of what I'm facing here. And I don't even know how I'm going to move forward. But I'm not going to have shame around that setback. I'm just going to be totally open with it. Not to bring other people down, not to just air my dirty laundry, not to cause drama, but when it's appropriate, right? So I had to do that. I've had to do that many times. Still to this day, I have to do that. Another thing that helped me tremendously was humbling myself enough to lean on people around me, specifically my family members, right? So in the midst of this setback, talking to them, receiving input from them, receiving support from them, receiving help from them, encouragement from them, whatever it is they could offer, because maybe they were strong in that time. You know, back then, I think I was really, really probably cocky, and I thought I could do it all on my own. So I realize now that that's not the truth. But when you think you can do it all on your own in the midst of that setback, you're screwed, man. You can't. You got to lean on the people around you. You got to listen to the people around you. And you got to let them help you pick your mess back up and move forward. So those were two major things that I had to do and have had to do many times. And other than that, it's the old simple adage. Chili hits on it all the time. Just don't quit. Just keep trying to find a way. If it's truly, and you know, just keep trying to find a way. And that's what I did. And that's how, with the help of the people around me, that's how I made it out the other side of that setback. I found a way.
Yeah, that's all I was going to say.
And I did the work.
Is, you know, the details, you could be long-winded about it, but the details pertain to the individual situation, you know. So the only universal piece of advice that I can even think of is keep showing up. I mean, if that's your goal and you're striving towards it and you've made progress and then a setback happens and you're back where you were 3 months ago, literally all you can do is work to where you were, get back to where you were, and then get a little better. And then you're probably going to have another setback. But then if you work back to where you were and get a little better from there, you keep stepping up the ladder. You know, it's not linear. Progress towards anything is not linear. You go up, then you go down, then you go up, then you go down. And sometimes you go down further than the last peak was.
It has to be that way.
But ultimately, you know, as far as in my short life, as far as I can ever tell, I'm not currently as good as I've ever been at an array of things, but I'm way higher than I was. You know, it's still the trajectory.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. And the only way it goes down, you know, plummets off the cliff is if you stop.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep. Well, I want to ask you specifically, Chili, because I at least believe, and I could be totally wrong, that when those races were canceled and essentially those were your dreams, right? And so similar to me, those were pretty much just stripped away from you, told no, right? You got in a pretty dark place mentally, didn't you? I mean,
yeah, I pretty well stay in one.
No, man.
He's trying to liken you to him. Chili.
No,
you
man.
know how he does this all the time.
I mean, really, man, because, and I just say this because I remember, and don't be offended by this, but I remember Tracy reaching out to me and saying, hey, man, will you just give Chili a call? And I called you one day. And so I know for Tracy to do that, you had to have been in a pretty dark place mentally. And how did you come out? Because you've come out of that spot. I mean, look at you now, dude.
You're a mud puddle.
No, I mean, seriously, man. Chili, you don't come out, you don't come and work hard as Chili works and get on the podcast and pour your heart out and really genuinely want to help people if you stay in that dark place. You don't, man. So how did you go from there to here?
I mean, I don't know. You know, you're trying to get into my mental state. That's
well, I mean, this is to help people, dude, because I guarantee you,
I get it.
There's a bunch of people out there that are stuck in that freaking dark place mentally, dude, and they don't know how to get out of it, and you got out of it.
I don't know that you get out of what you get out of. I mean, I don't know that you've got out of anything. Here's the deal.
No, you got out of it.
I'll say this, if you want to give some universal truth behind that, is the most negative emotion that I felt in my situation. Now, I don't know how applicable this is if you got an injury or something, but, you know, races were taken away. So it's like, man, what the crap? The world's against me. You know, I've got it so rough. Blah, 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 blah. That's what you do. You start freaking throwing a pity party. And, you know, it's like, well, it wasn't even my fault. Well, listen, why was I not ready beforehand? You know, why had I not accounted for the fact that those races weren't guaranteed? I mean, it's like the responsibility ultimately fell on me. If I had this goal of whatever you want to say, running some big race, being a pro runner, whatever,
There's nothing wrong with that, dude. That's an awesome goal.
Well, it's like, that just because some race, they never guaranteed that they would have it. I mean, like, that wasn't guaranteed. I took that for granted. I had it in my head that all this stuff, it's on me to get there. As long as I'm there, this will happen and I can do it. No, sometimes they can be taken away.